Imagine waking up one morning to find that every trace of your entire community, every neighbor, every church, every family has vanished. Not because they chose to leave, but because an entire county decided they should no longer exist. This isn't a movie plot. This happened in America, and for more than 75 years, almost no one dared to talk about it. This is the Forsyth County Expulsion of 1912. And the real story, the part they never put in textbooks, is far darker, stranger, and more calculated than you've ever been told. Forsyth County, Georgia, a place that today looks quiet, peaceful, even, rolling hills, old trees, new suburbs, and lakes that sparkle in the sun. But underneath that calm surface lies something else, a silence so heavy and so coordinated that it lasted 3/4 of a century. Forsyth County wasn't just not diverse. It was 100% white for 75 plus years. But here's the part most people don't know. Before 1912, Forsyth was almost 90% black in many areas. It was a vibrant network of farms, schools, churches, and multi-generational families who had lived there since before the Civil War. So, how does a place go from majority black to 0 black residents? That's the part history books skip. And today, we're telling it. Stay with me, because the deeper we go, the stranger and more revealing this story gets. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe, because this channel exposes the American history they purposely left out. The part that almost everyone gets wrong. When the story of the 1912 expulsion is told, if it's told at all, it usually starts with the same predictable headline. A crime, a rumor, then a white mob forms. But that's not the real beginning. The real beginning starts weeks earlier, with something far quieter and far more strategic. In August 1912, Forsyth County was experiencing a shift, one that threatened the old racial order. Black farmers were beginning to buy land, not just work it. Some were prospering. Black churches were expanding. A tiny but powerful black middle class was forming. In other words, a community was rising, and to some people in power, that rise was terrifying. What happened next wasn't spontaneous rage. It was organized oppression disguised as chaos. Something that looked like an explosion, but behaved like a plan. In early September, an allegation involving a local white girl spread across the county. The details of the incident were never clear, never consistent, and never verified. But within hours, the rumor grew into a wildfire. 2 black teenagers were arrested. No real investigation. No time for truth. No due process. People often say the mob reacted emotionally, but documents suggest something else. Newspapers from the time repeated the rumor with unusual coordination. County leaders held meetings, not to calm tensions, but to protect the county's integrity. Night riders, masked men, appeared almost immediately, as if waiting for a signal. This wasn't emotion. This was activation. Riders weren't new in the South. But in Forsyth, they operated with precision almost never seen elsewhere. They left notes pinned to doors. Not threats of violence, but warnings. Leave in 24 hours. They patrolled roads. They blocked bridges. They appeared outside churches at night, saying nothing, just being seen. And here's the eerie part. They didn't need to harm anyone to succeed. Their presence alone, paired with a rumor, created a climate where staying felt impossible. Families packed what little they could. Some fled through forests at night. Some abandoned farms they had built with their own hands. By the end of the month, the black population was almost entirely gone. But this is the part almost no one tells you. Many farms, houses, and businesses left behind by fleeing black families didn't remain empty. They quietly changed hands. Ownership shifted without proper documents. Land grants disappeared. Courthouse records accidentally burned. A purge isn't just removal. Sometimes it's acquisition. For decades, Forsyth County didn't just exclude black residents. It enforced exclusion. Sheriff's departments warned outsiders for decades to stay out. Real estate agents created unwritten rules. Public officials pretended nothing had happened. And that's when the strangest part began. The myth of Forsyth. Generations of children grew up in the county, completely unaware that the land beneath their feet had once belonged to black families. Many residents believed that black people just never lived here. Others believed a natural migration happened, but nothing about 1912 was natural. It was engineered silence. And when silence lasts long enough, a lie becomes memory. When something traumatic is hidden long enough, it becomes taboo. People avoid mentioning it because they don't want to be blamed. They don't want to confront stolen land, or they're afraid of the backlash that honesty might bring. Forsyth County became a place where history had two versions. The official story, we're a peaceful community. The unofficial truth, we keep it this way. Even the few white residents who questioned the history faced pressure to let the past stay buried. And here's the twist. The silence was so strong that many residents truly didn't know the truth. But all secrecy eventually cracks. For Forsyth, that crack came nationally in 1987. When Oprah visited Forsyth for a show, she was shocked to discover that the county still had 0 black residents nearly 75 years after the expulsion. Her presence ripped the silence open. Her cameras captured conflicted residents. People who had never heard of the 1912 purge. People who knew the truth but never discussed it. People who were openly resistant to change. Millions of Americans watched it. But ironically, even after Oprah's coverage, the deeper details, the land theft, the silence, the coordinated expulsion, remained largely unknown. The world saw the surface, but the roots stayed buried. Now here's where the story takes a twist almost no one knows. Lake Lanier, built in the 1950s, decades after the expulsion. Lake Lanier sits partly on what used to be black-owned farmlands and a once thriving black community nearby. Many families had already been pushed out by the expulsion, making it far easier for the government to claim the remaining land. Today, the lake is known for its tragic reputation, which has inspired countless documentaries and urban legends. But the truth is simpler and more painful. Land once owned by black families, expelled in 1912, now sits underwater. It was a final erasure, not just from the county, but from the landscape itself. Forsyth has changed dramatically. The county today is diverse, growing, and home to people from all over the world. Many residents had no connection to the old systems. Some only learned of the 1912 expulsion in recent years. And yet, a century-old silence doesn't disappear overnight. Scholars, families of survivors, journalists, and local activists are now uncovering lost deeds, vanished land records, forgotten families, oral histories almost erased. The truth is resurfacing piece by piece. And every piece challenges a sanitized version of Forsyth's past. White Medium Star Section 9. Why this story is viral today. People often ask, why talk about something from 1912? Because Forsyth County is not just a story about a place. It's a story about how history gets erased, how silence is engineered, and how a community can be rewritten in real time. It shows how an entire county can shift color overnight. A place can hide its own past. Families can lose everything with no record. Silence can last longer than memory. And most importantly, it shows how history can vanish without a single line in a school textbook. That's why this story is viral. Because the real question isn't, how did this happen in 1912? The real question is, how many more stories like this were buried? White Medium Star closing, emotional, suspenseful subscription call. Narrator, soft, serious, compelling. Forsyth County didn't just lose its black community in 1912. It lost the truth about itself. But today, that silence is finally breaking. And if we don't tell these stories, the ones they buried, the ones they edited, the ones they erased, then history will repeat its silence. If you want more deeply researched stories like this, stories the textbooks ignored and the news won't cover, make sure you subscribe. Your support helps bring hidden history back into the light. My name is Shadow Crime, and I'm here to tell the stories America tried to forget. Subscribe for more untold American history.